In this exercise, we're going to take a look at some additional visualization options that are available inside of Inventor. So first of all, I'm going to start off by opening an existing part file. And I'm just going to slide on down here, and I'm going to double click on the exercise 4 F1 car body appearance.ipt file. One of the options that you have is to change the visual style, or basically how the model appears. So an easy way to do that, from the navigation bar, I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to click on Visual Styles. I know that you can't see it, but I am selecting Visual Styles from the menu. So next I'll click on Visual Styles. Now from the menu I can select on different styles. So first of all here, I'll go ahead and click on Wireframe Visible with Edges Only. So now when I do rotate my viewpoint, you can see that everything is updated real time. So let's take a look at another one. So what does it look like maybe in monochrome or illustration? Again, change the viewpoint, see what that looks like. And next I'll just change this back to shaded. So what I want to do next is apply a decal, and I'm going to start off by selecting the planar face that I want to place that decal on. And I'm going to create a sketch. Just pan the model over. Now from the Insert panel, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Insert Image command. From the workspace, I'm going to double click on the Autodesk logo FY14 and place it to the right of the car. Right click, go ahead and click on OK. I only need one occurrence of that. So what I want to do next is rotate the image 90 degrees clockwise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a vertical constraint. Now it does matter which edge you're going to select. So if you pick the top edge, you can see here that the image was rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. So I'm going to undo that. And again, I'm going to go back to the vertical constraint, and I'm going to select the bottom horizontal edge, and that's the edge that you definitely want to select. As you can see, that did rotate the image 90 degrees clockwise. Press the Escape key to cancel out of that command. So next what I want to do is I want to size the image by placing in a 60mm vertical dimension. And next what I need to do is center the image inside of this sketch. To do that, I'm going to start off by applying a horizontal constraint to the midpoint of the vertical edge, to the midpoint of the vertical edge on the image. Then I'm going to apply a vertical constraint to the midpoint of that horizontal edge, to the midpoint on the image. So the image is now centered in the middle of the sketch. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to right click and finish the sketch. So now the last step is to create a decal from that image, and I'm going to do that by using the decal command, which can be found underneath the Create panel. Click on Decal. For the image, going to select an image that we just placed, and then for the face, just going to select on that planar face that we created the sketch on. Go ahead and click on OK. Now I'm going to repeat this process to place an F1 in Schools decal on the right-hand side. So again, I'm going to start off by creating a sketch, and again I'm going to insert an image file. So here I'll double click on F1 in Schools logo, place that back in. I'm going to apply a dimension of 25mm, and then locate the image right in the middle of that sketch. So again, I'll do a horizontal constraint as well as a vertical constraint. Finish the sketch, and again start up the decal command, select the image and the face. Go ahead, click OK, and the decal is created. So what you would do next is apply the F1 in Schools decal to the left-hand side. Now for speed, I'm just going to open up a file that already has that completed. So here you can see that the other decal has been applied. So next I'm just going to close all the files that I have open. In this case, I'm not going to save the changes. For the remaining visualization options, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up an assembly file. Exercise 4, F1 Race Car Assembly. Now the first thing that we're going to take a look at will be shadows. So to get to shadows here, I'm going to go ahead and click on the View tab. And from the Appearance panel, from the drop-down under Shadows here, you can see that we have 4 different options. So to start off with is we can turn on Ground Shadows. And ground shadows cast the shadow onto the ground plane. Note that the ground plane does not have to be on for that to happen. So here I'll toggle that one off. And next I'll toggle on object shadows. Object shadows cast shadows based on the active lighting styles. So here I'll turn that one off. And then we have ambient shadows. And ambient shadows cast shadows into the corners and cavities to make the model look more realistic. And the fourth option is all shadows. So by turning those on, as you can see, it turns them all on. So one thing to note, if you do click on shadows up at the very top, is it will toggle all shadows on and all shadows off. The next option that you have is reflection. So by toggling on reflections here, you can see that a reflection is cast onto the ground plane. And later in the exercise, we'll take a look at some additional options that you have for controlling the reflections. And another option that you have is to change the background. So again, from the appearance panel, I'm going to go underneath two lights, which is my lighting style. And here from the list, I'm just going to select empty lab. And let me zoom back here a little bit. And you can see that the image that I have here as I rotate my viewpoint, it's actually a 6-sided box that I'm looking at here. So the backgrounds, they are not planar, as you can see. So as you rotate your viewpoint around, you're seeing all aspects of the background. So here I'm just going to pan this over. So you do have options to control the background. So here underneath the lighting style, I'm going to go ahead and click on Settings. And here in the Styles and Standards Editor dialog box, here I can turn light sources on or off. I'll just move the dialog box over so you can see these. So when I turn them on, turn them off, you can see real-time changes here. You can make a specific light current. You can change the orientation of that light source by clicking and dragging on the sliders. You can change the color. You can change the overall brightness. And you can also change the ambience by clicking and dragging on the slider. Down at the bottom here, you can rotate the image. And you can also scale the image up or scale the image back down. And then when you're done, go ahead and save the changes and close the dialog box. So next I'm going to change the lighting style back to the default 2 lights. So next I'm going to change the viewpoint. And then lastly, I want to turn on ground planes. So with the ground plane on, you can see that the plane is now being displayed here. But what I'd like to do is make some edits, make it a little bit larger. So here underneath the ground plane, I'm going to go ahead and click on Settings. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to change this to Manual Adjust. And I'll back off here a little bit. So now with Manual Adjust, I can go back and I can make the ground plane larger or smaller as needed. Again, I'll zoom up on that. A few other things that we can do is I can turn off the grid. I can change the color of the ground plane. So here I'll change this back to black. I can also change the opacity. And you can also change the percentage of the reflection. And if you want to have the reflection blurred or not. And then when you're done with your settings, go ahead and click on OK. So you can see that the image is looking really good. The last thing that I want to do is export an image file. When I export an image file, the coordinates that we're seeing here in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, those will be displayed. So I want to turn those off. And I'm going to do that by going underneath